This conference will now be
Great.
recorded.
So hi everyone, welcome to the session once again. In this session, we'll be talking about the tentative pattern of PAT for all the courses, how it usually is as per the past trends. We'll talk about the DAF form questions, the pointers for the answers to the DAF form questions. We'll also talk about what all things you should prepare for your personal interview, and we'll wait for TISS to announce the PAT pattern for different courses. PAT pattern for different courses will be slightly different, very minutely different, and hence before starting to provide you PAT mock tests, we will wait for the actual pattern to be out. We will provide you 5 PAT mock tests for every course you have the call from. So for example, if someone has the call from 3 different courses, we will provide you 5 PAT mock tests for each of those courses. Similarly, for HRM and ODCL call getters, we have provided TISMAT mocks as a part of the course. And for everyone else in non-HRM and non-ODCL, we will be providing you the PAT mock tests, which will be 5 in number. Now, first let's talk about PAT, because I think quite a few of you are very worried about PAT. Now, see, the PAT pattern for different courses in past has been one of these two. One pattern of PAT is where it's going to be a combination of reading comprehension and a short essay. When I say reading comprehension, suppose say you are someone from social epidemiology, or you are someone from women's studies, you will probably get a passage which talks about an issue around women's studies as a subject area, or social epidemiology as a subject area. A short passage will be given to you. It will not be a typical RC where you have to read the question, find the answer, and write it down. No, a passage around the issue from your subject area will be given. Then 2 or 3 questions will be asked, which will be around the causes of the issue, the solutions, what is your view, how do you think that this can be mitigated, what do you think are the reasons for this, what do you think that government should do to address this. These are the kind of questions which will come in case your PAT is going to have a passage. And then the short essay, you will be given 2 or 3 or 4 topics. So if your PAT is the combination of passage and short essay, you will be given 2 topics for short essay, and you will be asked to write on one. If your PAT is purely short essay based, you will possibly get 4 topics, and they will ask you to write on 2 of those topics. So these are the 2 broad patterns of PAT which happen from course to course. At the end of the day, the topics which come for short essays, they are also the topics which are relevant to your subject area. So for example, if someone has a call from climate change, or someone has a call from say policy planning, you will get the topics of the essays which are around public policy, policy planning, or climate change. Those will be the set of topics which you will get. So if you would see, irrespective of the pattern of PAT, what matters at the end of the day is your knowledge around your subject area. That is important. That is the most important. You don't need to study typical current affairs which you studied at the time of preparation of GK section. Obviously, you should know them if they are from your subject area, but you don't need to study those kind of current affairs now. But you need to be aware about the ongoing issues, the ongoing topics of debate, the ongoing policies which the government has made over last 1 year, the implementation problem of those policies, your view on the success or failure of those policies around your subject area. That is what is important, and that is what you need to prepare for PAT. Now, whatever you will prepare around these topics for your PAT, that will help you in your PI also. Yes, Simran, I will provide you that. We will start providing these topics from tomorrow to Thursday. So between Tuesday to Thursday, we'll provide you the topics. Now, these topics which you are going to study, they are going to help you for your PI also, your personal interview as well. Your personal interview broadly can be broken down into 4 sub-segments. One segment of your personal interview is going to be around these topics, around subject areas, around which they can ask you the questions that what is your view, what is your opinion, what do you suggest, these kind of questions. The second segment of your interview will have questions around your work experience, in case you have work experience, or if you are a fresher, it will be around any NGO work, any internships, etc. done by you. So the second segment of your personal interview questions consists of your work experience / NGO experience / internships / projects. The third segment is primarily for freshers or people with up to 1 year of work experience, where some questions could be asked from your academics. Especially say if you are a person from economics background, if you are a person from say psychology background. So this happens a lot for people who have got courses calls from the courses related to psychology. You will be asked questions from your academics also, because most of the people who apply for the psychology courses at TISS, they are typically freshers. So they will ask you different theories around psychology which you might have studied in your graduation. We will ask you all those questions when we start taking your mock interview, so don't worry. Projects, typically they will ask you questions around those projects which are related to your field. Because in your DAF form, if you see the screen, the DAF form which I have shared, they are going to ask you as the third question, mention any work done by you relevant to the field of study selected by you. So if you have studied, say, you have got shortlisted for, say, women's studies or psychology or social epidemiology, you should be putting up the relevant work done in this question as the answer, which could be internship, it could be project, it could be NGO work. And the fourth segment of your personal interview will comprise of soft skill based questions. What are these soft skill based questions? These soft skill based questions are what you see at the bottom as question 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell us about yourself. Tell us something about yourself not mentioned in the DAF form. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your long-term goal, your short-term goal, and the most important one, from your interview perspective, the make or break question, question number 1, why are you interested in pursuing the selected program? This question is the most important question of your personal interview. I will just now tell you the pointers for this question's answers. You will be required to write down the answers to all these questions which are there in this PDF and email it to me for review. I will tell you the pointers for all these questions which are here. Question number 1. Why are you interested in pursuing the selected program? This question, as I said, is make or break. We will work with you, do multiple iterations wherever required to help you finalize the answer. In this answer, You don't need to just write things like I'm interested in this field, I want a career switch, or I want a better career path, or whatever it is. No, the answer to this question needs to come out like a story which links your personal experiences driving your interest in this field, and how that interest transformed into your belief that this is where you want to build your long-term career in. That's how the storyline will move. You will start off your answer to this question by quoting some example or experience from your life, which you will say that generated your initial interest in this field. Then you would quote another example or another experience of your life. It could be personal or professional life or observations. It could be anything. You will quote another example or experience, which you will say that while the first one generated the initial interest, this second one strengthened the belief that this is where you want to build your career in. And then you would say that once you realized that this is where you want to build your career in, you do see that there are certain skills, certain knowledge areas like XYZ, you will list them in your answer, which you need to learn from here in order to become an effective professional. That could be in the field of women's studies, that could be in the field of social epidemiology, that could be in the field of social entrepreneurship, wherever it is. And that is where you see this program at TIS coming into the picture, where it's going to help you develop those missing skills and will assist you to achieve your long-term goals by acting as a bridge between where you are today and where you want to reach in your professional life. This is how your storyline for your answer to the question number 1 should be. Couple of common mistakes which I see every student makes. Please don't make those mistakes. First, no one who has got the call from public policy or women's studies or children development, please do not write that you want to do UPSC in future. They are not looking to help you get the knowledge and later on see you getting into UPSC. No one should write that doing UPSC is either your long-term career goal or because of UPSC is that you have selected this program. I have seen a lot of TIS aspirants writing UPSC in their answers. Please don't do that. That will lead to a strong case of rejection. Don't mention UPSC. Talk about how do you want to come out as a person who becomes useful for the country, whether it's working for an NGO, whether it's working for a government body, whether it's working for an organization. But you should come out as a person who wants to contribute to the nation, add value to the people who are related to the subject area from which you have got the call from. Don't mention UPSC and all in any of your answers. Is it clear? Question number 1, is it clear? Any questions? Any doubts? How to write answer of question number 1? Okay. Moving to question number 2. This is relatively easy. Biographical sketch. Name suggests it has to be about your life. It could be a combination of your personal life and professional life. You have to write in a chronological order, starting from your initial years, your younger age, and coming till today. It will be written in first person. You can write biographical sketch in first person. You have to, in this answer, talk about those experiences of your life, those events of your life, those incidents of your life, which you believe helped you to become a better person or a better professional, which ultimately is a trait of your personality today. So for example, if something happened in my life, some event, good or bad, either, but it made me a lot more culturally sensitive, I will write that point in my biographical sketch. Something happened which helped me to become a better leader or a better analytical skills person or a better person who can understand problems of others in a better way. I will write those incidences of my life in question number 2. This, now suppose if you have got calls from multiple courses, question number 1 and question number 3 will have separate answers for every course. Question number 2, you can have the same answer for every course because your biographical sketch is same. So your biographical sketch can remain same across multiple courses, but the answer to question number 1 and answer to question number 3 will change depending upon different courses you have the call from. Question number 3, very easily understandable. This is a factual question. You just have to write factual things, whatever work you believe you have done in the field of study from which you have got the call from. This is how your first 3 answers need to be. Remember, since you are going to send me your answers for review, if you are in a confused state that whether you should include a point or not, please include it and send it to me. If that point needs to be removed, I will help you remove it. But do not miss out writing a point assuming that it is not important. Is it clear? Yes, Shibashish, you can include any certifications done in the field. So this is how first 3 answers need to be there. Moving to next 4 questions. Tell us about yourself. One common mistake which every year a lot of students make. My question is, tell us about yourself. Tell me about yourself. I want to know about you as a person when I ask you this question. Do not tell me about your family. Do not tell me about your father, mother, siblings, etc. This question is about you. You can start off this answer by quoting your name, mentioning your city. You can use an adjective for your city like Lucknow, city of Nawabs, Mumbai, commercial capital, etc. After that, you can talk about your class 10th and 12th if your marks are good. If your marks are not good, directly move to your graduation where you talk about your graduation, that I did my graduation in this stream, in this from this college with this much percentages of marks. You can skip marks wherever they are not good. When I say good marks, if they are in 80s or 90s, mention them. If they are less than 80, do not mention them. After that, if you have work experience, you will talk about your work experience by saying that I have total of these many months of work experience in this company, in this profile. Then you will talk about couple of sentences about your work profile. You will not get into detail. You will just mention at the high level. The purpose is to give the panel a bait to ask you the next question. So you will not elaborate. You will just mention at a very high level in 2 sentences. Then you will talk about any NGO work. You will talk about any internships. You will talk about any projects you have done, again at a very high level, not elaborating in detail. And then you will conclude the answer with your hobbies. That is how the structure of tell us about yourself answer is going to be. Do not mention your weaknesses. Do not mention your strengths in tell us about yourself answer. In this question, the purpose is to throw different baits at the panel to drive them for the next cross question. So your name, city, 10th, 12th graduation, work experience, projects, NGO work, internships, hobbies. At times I've seen every year a lot of students, and I'm pretty sure some of you might have worked in your college with some of the projects related to United Nations or UNESCO, etc. If you have worked on those areas, do mention those things in your tell us about yourself answer as well. Tell us something about yourself not mentioned in the DAF form. This is again a favorite question of this. Typically, this will be your first question of your interview. If this is not first question of your interview, it is usually never asked. So if there is anything which you have done which might not be directly related to the field of study, you can mention in this answer, or you can mention your strengths and weaknesses in this answer. It's only strengths in this answer. Weaknesses you will never bring up yourself unless the panel specifically asks you that what are your weaknesses. So any work done not relevant to the field of study or your strengths could be the possible answer for question number 2. Then, no, Shubham, hobbies are your hobbies. Hobbies are your hobbies. They are not linked to the course. My hobby could be watching cricket, playing badminton, playing squash, or say singing, watching Netflix. It could be anything. Hobby is hobby. Hobby is what you do when free. It is not linked to your field of study. In fact, it is something which comes into the picture when you are not studying anything or when you are not doing anything. Last question. Long-term goal and short-term goal. Your short-term goal answer needs to be around 5 to 6 sentences. Short-term goal answer needs to be around 5 to 6 sentences. When I say short-term, I am primarily looking at the answer to the question, where do you see yourself 3 to 5 years from now? 3 to 5 years from now is my short-term goal answer. Now, this includes 2 years of you at TISS and couple of years after that. In this answer, you are going to talk about the skill set which you see yourself developing over the period of next few years, and what kind of initial work do you see yourself doing. This is what you are going to mention in your short-term goal. Long-term goal, 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Where do you see yourself 10, 15, 20 years down the line is your long-term goal. Now, by that time, you will cover this much time of your career. You would have learned everything. You would have become a senior professional in the industry, irrespective of the course area. In long-term goal, you are going to talk about the kind of impact you want to create in the field of study. So if someone is in policy planning, talk about what kind of impact do you see yourself creating by making X kind of policies. If someone is in women studies, talk about the kind of impact you want to make in the women sector. If someone is coming from analytics, HR or ODCL background courses, talk about what kind of value add do you see yourself bringing to the table for the organization you will be working for. So long-term goal is more about the impact you want to create. Remember, in long-term goal answer, don't mention the name of the organization. Don't mention the designation. Don't say that I see myself working in United Nations. Don't say I see myself working in XYZ company as a head of HR. Don't say those kind of statements. Talk about the impact. Long-term goal is about impact you want to create. Short-term goal is about the skills you look forward to learn. Do you all get it? Any doubts? Any questions? Perfect. So as the next step, please start writing down the answers to these questions in a Word document and email me that Word document for review. All of you know my email ID. My email ID is varun@careerna.com. You all know it. Whenever you have written the answers, send it to me for review so that we can work iteratively with you to finalize the answers. Simran, mostly PIT and PI will be conducted on the same day. In meanwhile, from tomorrow evening, we will start releasing the topics from different subject areas that you need to study. So we will not be providing the write-up for every topic, but whenever you find a topic tough and you are not able to find its content, you can let us know and we will provide you the content for that particular topic. Because there are so many courses, it will become really almost impossible for us to provide the topics content for every course. But whenever you are not able to find the content of a topic, you can let us know and we will help you out with the content for that particular topic. Varsha, interview will be in English. It will not be bilingual, because see, you never know at the end of the day the person who is sitting in the panel is from North India or South India, whether he understands Hindi or not. So try to deliver your answer in English. It is okay to use one or two words in Hindi just to emphasize on a certain thing, but it cannot be a bilingual delivery. It has to be English. Simran, how much time do they usually give till PIT PI? So Simran, it could be any time between 15 days to 45 days, depending upon the course you have the call from and the campus you have got the call from. First and foremost, interviews will happen for Mumbai campus. Then they will move to other couple of campuses. So the Mumbai campus interview dates will be earlier. Muskan, yes, considering the COVID situation, I believe that PIT will happen online. But yes, at the end of the day, we all don't know till the official confirmation comes. But considering the COVID situation currently, especially in Maharashtra, I believe that it's going to be online. Shibashish, as I said, we will be providing you the topics. Just give me a day or two. You will have analytics topics by tomorrow or day after. For TISMAT, Nayanika, GK topics need to be covered and once that we can skip. Okay, so Nayanika, for TISMAT, RC section is easy, you understand it. DI section is easy, you understand it. You already have the mock tests of TISMAT in your course. As far as GK is concerned, primarily focus on business awareness ebooks and fact sheets of last 6 months. Fact sheets plus business awareness will suffice. You don't need to study history, geography, polity, social economic issues, etc. Primarily current affairs of last 6 months and business awareness ebooks. I'll just write my email ID. I've typed my email ID for the convenience of everyone. I'm just taking up questions. Vishal says, how to deal with the third question if we don't have? Pratham, no, it won't be disabled, don't worry. Vishal, if you don't have anything relevant, think through. Build something. You don't necessarily need a certificate, but at least mention something which you can talk about. Okay. DS. What about cutoff marks? As I said, do not worry about the situation where your marks are same as the cutoff marks. We have had students who have converted in the main list in the previous years, even with their score equal to cutoff score. What now matters once you have got the call is what's your PI performance and what's your PAT performance or a TISMAT performance. Do not TISNET marks, whatever difference is, it will boil down to a very, very small difference once they take the composite score, and hence you can easily cover up with your PI and PAT performance, and that's what students have done in past. So you don't need to worry about your score being equal to the cutoff marks. Neha, I believe they should revert, considering the kind of stringent government rules which this follows. They should revert. Dispatch should happen from home. They will probably not be setting up online centers for you to go and take. I believe 99.9% it should happen from home. Barsha, GK questions are not important for social work. It is only for HR and ODCL students that they need to study GK for TISMAT exam. Non-HR and non-ODCL students, they don't have TISMAT exam, so you don't need to study for it. So you don't need to worry about GK questions. You everyone else apart from HR and ODCL students need to study the topics from their subject areas, not the typical GK. Yes, Pratham, when I say that you got the call, I mean your status of getting shortlisted for the course. Okay, perfect. So as the next step, your homework is you will write down the answers for these questions and email it to me for review. Take next 2, 3, 4 days, but within this week, send it to me without fail. Second, as soon as the PAT format is confirmed by TIS, we will within 2 or 3 days, we will release your PAT mock tests. Third, between tomorrow and Thursday, we will release all the topics for different courses which you need to study for your PAT and PI. Generally, the calls are given in the ratio of 1:5. So for example, if a course has 40 seats, they would have called 200 students. Nainika, you don't need to study government body, defense, etc. for TISMAT. It's primarily business GK. They've already tested you at government schemes, government body, etc. in the exam. Okay, perfect. So as and when we will keep releasing the topics for different courses, we will update you in the WhatsApp group so that you can log into the dashboard and check out the topics for your course. We will keep you updating in the WhatsApp group. Between tomorrow to Thursday, all the courses topics will be out. And then as soon as the PAT pattern is confirmed, we will provide you PAT mock tests. We will schedule your 1-1 mock PI as soon as your answers for the DAP form are confirmed. And then the remaining mock PIs will happen once your interview date is out. But we will at least have 1-1 mock interview as soon as your answers of the DAP form questions are finalized, so that you get to know the flavor of the PI, plus you also get to know your shortcomings. And the remaining mock PIs, we will schedule them basis your interview date. Vishal, descriptive writing tests, you need to submit online. It will come to me within 24 to 48 hours of you submitting the test. I will email you the personalized feedback over email. You need to ignore the result which you will see on the submission of the descriptive test immediately, but wait for me to send you the feedback over email. Okay, perfect. Everything is clear. Everyone has a picture now that what all how to prepare. Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining today. I'll provide you the recording of this session by late tonight so that you can refer to it whenever you want. And we'll now stay in touch till the time you convert your calls. Great. Thank you everyone. Good night.